Okay.
Is it against magic or a spell?
And when you say that, he gets this defeated look, and he lets his scimitar clatter to the ground, and his crossbow as well. And he turns his head down so as not to maintain eye contact with you. And he says, "Tell me, who is your patron? Who sent you?"
Well, let's first of all drag this dead body inside the room and close the door.
Okay, so now there's 3 dead bodies in here. The 2 purebloods and the dead Malison woman.
I mean, I'm tying him up with the... I'm going to grab the rope and tie
No,
this guy
I'll
up.
motion to Birdie to stop. You tell me what you have first, and then we'll see if we can work out some sort of arrangement.
He tells you that he's here under orders of the matriarch Iha.
Uh-huh.
Says whatever filth dwelled in this place was a known traitor to the Red Star.
And you are searching for evidence of that?
He says there's supposed to be a book. Iha has commanded me to find it. And you see this kind of sneer on his face, and he says, "So you see, whoever sent you, Iha will have them in the end."
Probably. I mean, we all know how things work around here. I'll tell him to help me find this book, and then you're free to go, and you can. And I'll make sure that. What's your name?
He gives you generic Yuan-ti name number 463.
Yep. And I'll make sure that my patron, who of course obviously is someone who knows what they're doing, I will not say, because this is obviously conspiracy, so no need to get both of us into trouble. We'll make sure that you come out of all of this all right.
As long as the course of action sounds reasonable, and this has a duration of up to 8 hours?
As long as I'm concentrating, yep.
Okay.
Also keep your head down.
He's going to do this as long as the spell lasts, but as soon as the spell is gone, this no longer will sound like a reasonable course of action. But you plan to be clear away from him by that point.
Very much. I mean, if it takes more than 8 hours to find the book and the staff.
Okay. And you do find the staff in the back room. It seems like he has had no interest in it.
Okay. Is it too large to easily conceal on my person, or...?
No, actually it's smaller than you were expecting. You were expecting a walking staff or something, or maybe a quarter staff, to be used by one of the Malisons.
Yeah.
It looks like it would have, if it was going to be used in that way, it would have to be used by something much smaller than the Yuan-ti. By a small-sized...
Hey, Birdie!
Perhaps a small-sized creature.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a walking stick?
The core of the staff, when you pick it up, you're not expecting it to be as heavy as it turns out to be. And realize, looking at it, it has... You think it's gold at first. But you realize it's just like a plating of gold around the edges. And it's very old. There are parts where it's been chipped and scratched away. And you can see stone underneath. It's a stone staff. Ancient. And then a much more modern addition to it has been a snake coiled around the outside of it, so it has a hooded viper's head at the top. And this is done in silver. So it's a very beautiful thing.
That's the Yuan-ti version of silver.
You also find the book that he was here looking for. And looking through it, it looks like a journal that has been kept by the woman who lives here. And it talks about her mate having strange dreams. And it describes the Coatl that Red has known, that is thought to intercept prayers given to the Red Star. How much time do you spend sitting here flipping through this journal right now?
The only thing I was hoping to figure out is if this is a member of Kill's family.
She describes him as her mate. They probably weren't lovers in the traditional Valentine's Day sense. They were probably paired together by the matriarchs to procreate.
Okay. Is there anything else in the residence that would be useful to steal?
Nothing of great value, no.
Okay.
Other than the staff.
I'm also going to. Can I take? Birdie like nudges up and like whispers in Red's ear. He's like, ask him about the crossbow.
You can take
He
a
dropped
crossbow.
the crossbow on the floor.
Yeah, it's sitting
I know, but is it the crossbow or is it the bolts? I'll just take both. Give me the bolts and the crossbow.
Give me everything. I want
See,
it.
the problem is they're ID locked. You gotta send them to Drebin first.
It's fine. We can do that when we get back.
The crossbow, as far as you can tell, is normal. And he has a bolt case on his person. Do you take it from him?
You should probably make sure you don't walk out of here with any weapons. Hand us the bolt case. We'll dispose of it.
And he does, but he's not happy about handing it over. But you didn't phrase it in a way that sounded unreasonable.
And I'll make a show of disguise of concealing my dagger and my rapier on my person as I'm saying this.
Okay.
And then I'll put the bolt case in Birdie's pack.
Okay. What do you do
Leave
with
the
it
crossbow
afterwards?
All right. We're gonna clean up the blood. You go up. Just try and be as nonchalant as possible. We'll probably be up shortly, but you want to never see if things work out for you. Good luck.
And then he leaves the room.
We'll give him about 2 minutes, Birdie. Let's clean up the blood on the outside, and then let's get out of here ourselves. I'll say I'm bringing snake pits. We'll pop over the wall.
Okay.
Raazu.
Hello.
So you're looking down the hole
this
where this rope ladder
Yep.
descends into this cramped space underneath, and you hear a soft snoring.
Now, I've been around Adrex for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around Adrex while he's been sleeping for
Yeah.
a long time. Does this sound like Dragonborn snoring?
Does not sound like Adrex is snoring, but it's coming from something large.
Okay. Okay. I'll go ahead and carefully slip my way down the rope.
Down the rope ladder?
Yeah.
Okay, roll initiative. Where's the stat block I need? Maybe you're not rolling initiative if I can't find a monster for you to fight. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll initiative.
Don't need these.
We'll use this red one here. And I need one green one. We do need these. As you come down the rope ladder, you hear a sharp intake of breath. The room you're descending into, it's no bigger than the cell above, but it's more private. It has the stone walls of an underground chamber. One corner of the room has a metal grate, a round metal grate in the floor, and you can see the water running underneath.
Mm-hmm.
In the corner of the room, outside of your line of sight from the top, on a small wooden chair, which the sound of which clatters to the ground as it's kicked over, you see a little goblin woman, and she's shrieking something in Red's terrible snake language. And she uses her action to dart over to this just straw mat splayed out on the ground, where this large Goliath is sleeping, and she begins shaking him violently while staring at you with just terror in her eyes. And he wakes up and he's surprised, which gives you your action. Looking around the room, you see a great club leaned up against one wall that this Goliath probably wields with great skill.
Raazu steps in between the club and the Goliath.
Okay,
And
that's
then-
going to provoke an attack of opportunity from the goblin, who's not surprised.
Okay.
You're good with that?
Yep.
I've got an AC of 6.
Mm-mm.
As she shouts some invectives and aims some sharp kicks at your shins, but her toes just... She's just wearing these dirty sandals. They just crack against the metal of your armor as you stride nonchalantly over towards this great club. So you interject yourself. If he wants to grab this great club, he's going to provoke an attack from you.
Yeah, Raazu's going to hold up her hand and say, she's gonna speak in Northland Common.
Okay.
And say, hold on, don't shut her up.
You're talking to the Goliath, who's right now he's wiping the sleep from his eyes. You see he's starting to rouse into anger. You tell him to shut her up?
Yeah.
She clearly does not understand your words, and she's continuing to shake him.
Mm-hmm.
And with a very gruff movement, he sweeps out one arm and knocks his goblin to the floor. She tumbles head over heels backwards into the wall as the Goliath takes his feet. And he's taller than you by quite a bit. Oh, you guys have met a Goliath. You've met River Leaper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He looks much stronger than River Leaper. River Leaper was partially crippled and moved very slowly, and he wasn't particularly muscular. He was pretty lean. This one looks all muscle. He's pretty big, to the point where you can tell he's got to be uncomfortable sleeping in these cramped quarters. And he responds to you in Northland Common, but with a very kind of unsure tongue, as though he hasn't spoken these words for many ages. He tells you he doesn't like it when they send pillow girls that can talk. And he does, in fact, reach forward to grab his great club. And he has to strain behind you to get it. So that will provoke an attack of opportunity. He's got to come all the way through your threat range to take this thing.
Punch to the gut.
Punch to the gut? It's an unarmed attack?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Unarmed attack, because you're not a monk, I think it only deals 1 damage plus your strength mod. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine. Yeah, because I'm not trying to kill this guy. Trying to tell him, trying to get him to talk.
Okay.
And that is a 26 to hit.
26 will hit, yes.
4 damage.
For 4 damage. And you punch him in the gut. He's not wearing anything of note, just plain breeches, an open jerkin leaving most of his chest and belly exposed. You see on one side of his belly, he has a brand. Not a brand. It's not like it was placed there with hot metal. Carved into his skin, some kind of lettering. You don't know what it means, other than that marks him as a slave of somebody. He takes the punch, and you hear him grunt. And he says, in the same language, finding more confidence in the tongue now. He says, "Oh, but I do like my pillow girls to be spirited." And he takes hold of the club. And he's going to whack you with it a couple times.
Okay.
I can do this twice. I think I've got 1 hit and 1 miss. I have a 22 to hit.
Yep.
And a 16.
Not going to do it.
Not going to do it. Okay. For 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
7 points?
7 points. As he gets hold of his great club and whirls it back, crashes down on you. Make an insight check. Actually, what's your passive insight?
Passive insight is 11.
11, okay. I'll let you use that 16 if you want to use your action to make the check, but it's now your turn.
That'll be my active perception.
You see the goblin eyeballing the ladder and back. Like, she wants to escape up this ladder, but she realizes that would just earn her the Goliath's wrath. And you're doing what with your action?
Active perception. I'm going to take that 16.
Perception or insight?
Insight, yeah.
Okay. This is a man who loves the thrill of the fight. He probably revels in his position as a slave and he probably has earned his stripes in the fighting pits.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to slow his attack against you, but you're pretty sure if you show him a sufficient showing of strength, you might be able to cow him into listening to you.
Okay.
You're also going to be making a great deal of noise, however.
Yeah.
And he's going to whack you again. I have a 17.
Nope.
And a 14.
Not gonna do it.
He's having great difficulty maneuvering in this small space with his great club. His swings are scraping the walls, sending bits of stone and masonry clattering down around him. His second attack goes so wide that he sends the chairs to splinters. That brings it back to you.
Throw another couple punches. That's a nat 1.
Okay.
And then that is a 20.
20 will hit.
4 damage.
4 damage. You're going to be punching him for a long time before you make a noticeable dent in him. If you want to cow him, you're going to have to bleed him a little, probably.
Yeah.
Because he does not have any problems bleeding you. That's going to be a 7 to hit.
Nope.
And a 26 to hit.
That'll hit.
For 14 points of bludgeoning damage.
Ow.
Finally, the club finds its home and crashes you against one of the walls. This whole time, this goblin is shrieking in just absolute terror. Like, just one wrong move, and this great club is going to come down and smash her to jelly. You're up.
All right, I'm going to. I really wish that my damage wasn't my sight damage wasn't thunder damage. Okay, but there's no way I can disguise that.
The thunder damage? No, it sounds like thunder.
Yeah. Although there is inclement weather outside, so maybe
There is, but it's not down here in the ravine, and it's certainly not in this building.
Yeah. I thought not.
But maybe.
What are we doing?
Make a saving throw. Strength or dexterity, your choice.
I'm going to go strength, because he's a friggin' Goliath.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Only a 9, though.
He is restrained.
So what are you doing?
Got scary pirate chains.
Oh, okay, so you're using terrible pirate magic?
Yeah.
So these manifest as chains and shackle him down?
Yeah.
Is this what causes the thunder to clap?
No. I was thinking smite damage, but no. This is just the So it kind of it holds him to the floor.
Is he prone or just restrained?
He's just restrained.
Okay, and
It
you
just
see
holds
him
him fast.
struggle a bit. Is there an escape DC?
Same, but I still want to. I can't really make an intimidate check at this point.
Well, I'm assuming
I
your
already
action
used my
was
action.
to use the chains.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Mhm.
he's restrained, so he makes this check at disadvantage.
Yep.
Got an 8
Nope.
and a 12.
Nope.
As he very clumsily tries to, with using just his forearms, because his upper arms are shackled to his chest, maneuver this club in such a way to sweep your legs out from under you, but he just cannot get an angle.
How tall is he?
Less tall now that you've dragged him to the floor.
Raazu reaches out, grabs him by the neck, and says, "All right, whatever your loyalties were before, you work for me now." That's intimidation.
Let's make that strength intimidate check.
Let's see. That's -1 from what it is on the sheet, which is a +7. 23.
And you see the look in his face for a moment of a man who's like seen death dozens and dozens of times, is very well acquainted. And in some way, that's kind of the scariest type of person to deal with. You can tell that this is not a man that's going to be intimidated. In fact, he tells you that he doesn't work for you or anybody, but he promises if you give him a kiss, he'll make it real sweet. You haven't intimidated him, but in some measure, it looks like you've earned his respect. And his hand opens, and the great club clatters to the ground.
Raazu doesn't let go of his neck, but she looks at the goblin and says, "Tell that she's not to speak of this. Get her out of here."
And he gives her just a sharp, guttural sound. Like, not even a word, just something between a grunt and a command. And she skitters over to the rope ladder and starts hoisting herself up. He looks back at you and says, "Pity, I was going to eat that later."
Well,
he tells you, "Okay, you have my attention."
You say that you don't obey anyone. And yet,
he said he doesn't work for anyone.
And Raazu looks to the mark on his shoulder and says, "Funny, could have sworn something different based on what my friends told me about Yuan-ti society."
Well, the mark is down on his belly, not his shoulder.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll look at the mark regardless.
Okay. He sneers and he tells you that he wouldn't call what the masters ask of him to be work. When he uses the word masters, he leaves the common language behind and uses whatever the Yuan-ti term for it is.
Masters.
God damn it. So you're content to just thump heads in their pits for the rest of your life until someone thumps your head?
He says there are far worse ways to live.
There are far better ways, too.
Let me guess. You've decided to come here and free all of these slaves and overthrow the great matriarchs. And again, he uses the Yuan-ti term for the word matriarch. You're going to well a hail and conquering victory. Lead the slaves out into the sunshine so they will know peace and prosperity for all their lives, leaving a trail of snake bodies in their wake. How close am I?
Yeah, I'd say you hit it pretty well on, yeah.
He says the matriarchs will brand you on your face, as they do with everyone who sneaks into the walls. Your life will be short and painful, and you will know slavery in a way that I never have. Then he brightens up a little and says, "But it will be fun to watch. What would you have of me?" Go ahead and make an insight check. Go ahead and continue your thought, but also make an insight check.
I'm told that you hold some sway among the population of the slaves. That's a 12.
12? He explains
of weight.
That he's one of the taskmasters. One of the 8s, I think? One of the 7. No, I'm sorry, one of 6.
6. That's
the taskmaster by the second.
And your insight was what?
That's a 12.
A 12. He tells you that when he speaks, the slaves listen. You get the sense that he is listening earnestly to you. You cannot really figure out why. You've already determined you haven't intimidated him. You haven't cowed him into obeying you. He's not afraid of death. You're not sure what he's playing at.
What do you want? There's something here. There's something that suddenly made you docile, and I want to know what that is.
And he smiles unkindly, and he says that he wants what you want. Freedom and sunshine and rainbows.
If you're going to lie to me, you can at least try harder than that.
And he snickers. He says, what use do I have to lie? You have me in irons. And he asks you again, what would you have of him?
The companions that I'm here with are working on other methods. What I need from you is to get the slaves to make a ruckus.
A ruckus, you say?
Mm-hmm.
He asks what you have in mind.
Very soon tonight, the great matriarch will be dead.
He asks which one.
Isa.
Do you mean Iha?
Iha, yeah. Know why I have Isa?
And he smiles again. He says that you and the companions you're here with, using your own words, you think very highly of yourselves.
I would say that we've proven ourselves to be pretty capable in a variety of situations.
He tells you that if he creates a ruckus, again, using your words, that many slaves will die, and that many who don't die will be bloodied and made stronger. That you will never empty the numbers of this place.
The way I see it, those that die will die by their own volition. They will be free.
You see his eyes narrow, as though he's like searching for meaning in your words. He tells you that he believes you are unlike other hobgoblins that have passed this way. He says he can do nothing in these chains.
Raazu nods and the chains vanish.
Okay, make a strength. You can either do strength athletics or dex acrobatics.
Yeah, I'm gonna use athletics.
Roll high.
Because my dex is butt.
It's butt.
That's 21.
A 21.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the chains drop, with lightning quick speed, he lashes out with one of his arms. You feel his fingers closing around your neck. He's trying to grab you against the back wall. You reach up with your own hand and grab his wrist and pull it free, so you're prying the fingers away. You end up with your hand locked in his, and he's towering over you now, looking down into your eyes, and he's still smiling.
Raazu smiles back. Still want that kiss?
And he leans in to take it.
Sure.
Okay, gross. That happened.
Your fault. You did this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
You started it.
He lets go of your hand. So what exactly do you want him to do and when?
I want you to start a brawl over food rations.
He asks how big of a brawl.
As big as you can make it. Give us an hour, and then do so.
He lets go of your hand and takes a step back, so you have a clear path to the ladder out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says something in the Yuan-ti language that you don't understand, but he nods his head for one moment in assent.
All right. And if you're still alive by the end of the night, then you'll have earned my respect.
I'm thinking of like Tormund Giantsbane right now. So I can't wait to have children with her. Think of them. Great monsters will take over the world.
I'll go up the ladder and slip out of the quarters back into the water channel.
Vindy,
That's me.
what is it you were doing after you've learned what you could from the military guys? Were you heading back to the rendezvous point, waiting for the others?
Yeah, I think that's my game, because the only other place that we have yet to explore is the slave pens, and I wouldn't want to do that without Raazu.
Okay. Let's get individual stealth checks from everybody except Windy, because Windy was already pretty much there to get back safely to the rendezvous point.
24.
24? What's Birdie got?
23.
What's Raazu got?
4.
4. Would anybody like to spend some stealth points on this?
Yes. I would like to spend 4 stealth points.
4? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Windy, you're waiting for probably close to half an hour or so before you see Birdie and Red coming up over the wall. Then after another few minutes, Raazu pulls herself through from the water, and she looks very harried. Raazu, they have somebody spotted you and chased you around the island a couple of times before you were able to squeeze through one of the archways and then pull yourself up under the stairs. And as far as you can tell, they're still down there trying to figure out where you disappeared to.
Okay.
So you pull yourself up, and you've all learned interesting things.
I'll say to the others, we got about an hour until the food riot breaks out.
Oh, that's sooner than I had thought. Do we have any idea where Tazashi might be?
And I'll say I didn't hear anyone in either of these two rooms, but in here I heard someone argue, like, they sounded displeased with whatever orders they got. I couldn't make out what they were saying, though. And over here, the guards were distracted. There were guards, though, on the rally point. I don't know. Is that odd?
And Raazu, hearing that there are guards there that were distracted, it's probably because anybody stationed at this door could look down and see the fighting on the island.
Yeah, Raazu will point out that they had a slave fighting on the thing. It looked like they were just bloodying him for sport.
Well, we got the staff. We have a book that has other information that might be relevant. At this point, it's a question of getting Tazashi out and assassinating the matriarch. I think we should probably go for the matriarch first, but I don't know if things have calmed down up there. I think that'll give us the best distraction, right? To find the scientist.
Well, how angry did they seem at the scientist when you spoke to the White Snake? Right.
Yuan-ti don't get angry, but they are
John
definitely... There's definitely... Well, so it's a question of calculation, right? He's a danger, but he might not be a danger to you. So obviously there are a lot of machinations going back and forth to how best to use him, whether or not it's actually blasphemy, religious stuff. It's... Like, I'm sure you could ask 4 different Yuan-ti and get 4 completely different answers. There are definitely ones that want him dead.
In that case, if he's that divisive, I'm worried that we didn't spot him here. We haven't spotted him over here. Don't think he's here. I didn't hear him over here. Can't be certain.
Mm-hmm.
That only leaves the fighting pit. Could they be going to get rid of him?
If they were... You're talking about the scientists?
Yeah.
If they were going to execute him, Red, they wouldn't do it by throwing him in the fighting pit.
Yeah, they wouldn't throw him in a fighting pit. That's beneath them.
Not a Malicin of his standing.
Yeah, he would be executed ceremoniously.
All right.
The only other thing I was thinking about doing before we make our move on the temple, though again it would be nice if for some reason things were to calm down up there, would be maybe moving into the snake pit and see if I can't do any manipulation. Sounds like Raazu's taking care of most of that, but I have the name of a slave that's valuable to the Waterman that I might be able to cause some trouble with that would also hurt the Grand Matriarch.
I wouldn't mind, just because it seemed like whatever was going on in there had some interest, and because they clearly feel the need to guard it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who could maybe take a look at the rally point might be worth it, but just because if I can't see the scientist, that doesn't necessarily mean he's not there.
It would be strange to put him in the barracks. I mean, realistically, I'd be surprised if he wasn't in one of the hidey holes out on the walls or in the temple.
All right. Well, we need to go to the temple anyway, right?
Yeah.
So let's check that first, then.
I mean, when we go to the temple, we're going to want to break in through the back door and kill and assassinate the matriarch. I don't think we're going to get another second chance going back and forth through there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Birdie, did you get any idea of the layout of the inside when you're under the water?
Just there was one large room with a pool in the middle of it that was about probably most of the room.
Okay.
And they were apparently, from what you've said, they were ceremonially, from what you learned, they were ceremonially milking a Malicin, I think is what it was.
Brick, would I have any idea about the way that should be laid out based on just, like, the correct way to lay out a temple for religious purposes? Like, in a Catholic church, you'll usually have the altar at the back with the stained glass and all that.
I'm going to say as far as the layout, I'm going to say no, simply because you know that they did not build these structures. They repurposed them. However, probably there is a very ritualistic sacrifice chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably a reliquary.
Okay.
Of where relics of the Red Star would be kept. If the matriarchs also have this as their living quarters, probably that's going to be underground if the Malicin quarters was any indication.
Well, I think the best thing to do is probably go in through one of the windows. Do we want to do that as a group now, or do we want to try and set anything else up first before we do that?
You have about an hour before the food riot starts.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should probably wait until that riot starts and then go in once it started, just because that might pull some of the heat off of us getting into the temple, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So do we want to take the next hour?
I will take that hour to see what I can find out. I'll try and infiltrate some more of these areas.
All right.
Okay.
I'll take the hour then to investigate the outside of the walls. If you're concerned he might be in one of these hidey holes, I can check each of those.
Now, you mean the hidey holes up in the cliffs?
Yeah.
There are only holes on this side of the cliff face.
Then I can do my work to head over there.
Yeah, try not to be seen. Just see if there's any that are being guarded. I would expect there to be armed guards holding them.
Wendy.
Yeah.
Yuan-ti have dark vision, but as long as you're not carrying a light source, nobody would be able to spot you flying from far off.
Then I think my goal is I'm just going to essentially try to fly above over here just to get to the walls themselves and then run along them.
Okay.
Because even if they hear me, then I'll just pop over the top of the cliff and get out of there.
It's a patchwork of pathways and switchbacks leading to the base of the cliff. All right, go ahead and place your markers where you're going. What's Raazu doing for the hour?
Raazu is going to go to the slave pens and see what you can find out there.
And what's Birdie doing for the hour?
I want to actually, Wendy was not. Wendy was not able to actually look into this room. She was just.
No, I just heard that there's definitely someone in there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I got. So if you want to.
Yeah, I want to see if I can't investigate. How big are these windows?
They're arrow loops, so if you climb the wall, you could look into them. I'm going to say Birdie could squeeze through one from the outside, but even then it would not be pleasant. You'd be scraping your arms and kind of contorting yourself to get in. Because these are not designed to be moved through. These are designed so somebody inside can fire an arrow through.
Do we have a physical description of the scientist? Like, do we at least know what kind of Malison he is?
Yes, he is one of the snake-headed ones. So he has a human torso and arms and legs.
Watch, it's going to be the one that they were milking, and then he's drowned and dead now. Okay, so I'm going to climb up and see if I can't stealthily. All
right, let's get a stealth check from everybody to get where you're going. Windy, make this check at advantage because you're going to be much harder to spot flying.
Can I help Raazu by providing a cover? Like, make it look like someone who's escorting a slave somewhere they should be?
Oh, you two are going together?
I'm also going there, so I can, along the way, I can go with him.
Yeah, you guys, instead of a stealth check then, make a deception check.
Okay.
18.
Gonna do the same Slipknot action, too?
I don't think you don't have any chains. It's unreasonable that a rope would hold you. So just try and do your best to look like you're a slave. Like, that your will has been broken.
Okay.
That's gonna be a deception of 19.
And Birdie, what's the
I need
stealth
to
check?
18.
Raazu, you don't have to make anything. And Windy, what's yours?
14, and I'll burn 3 stealth points.
Okay. So Windy, you circle back around the south edge and come over to the walls over here.
Yeah. There
are several dozen of these holes at various heights in the wall, and you're not sure what had made these tunnels originally, but now this is where many of the Yuan-ti make their living quarters, Malisons and purebloods both. So what's your goal when you get over to this area?
I think, I'm just going to be looking for guards. Like, people who are mostly staying in one space watching out. Because, again, right now I'm not going to be able to sneak past them, but I want to know, like, oh, if this spot is being guarded, that's somewhere that we want to check later.
Okay. You aren't expecting to find many guards as you kind of circle this direction.
Yeah.
However, you come to a few levels beneath where the entrance to the lab was, because the lab was set apart even from the other entrances in this wall. A few levels beneath that, you're aware of a larger group out here on this somewhat narrow ledge, maybe only 10 feet or so of space, beyond which is just a sharp drop to the ground, and relatively high up, maybe 50 or 60 feet. A drop from here is potentially fatal. A large group of Malisons, 5 or 6 of them, including a much larger creature. Whereas these Malisons are about human size, this one is even larger still. And it has the hands of a man and is wielding a curved blade in each one, and the head of a snake, and the long slithery torso and tail of a snake as well. And you can't make out what they're saying because they're speaking in Yuan-ti, but they've been sent here for something, and it sounds like they're arguing from a position of power with somebody else in one of these holes.
Okay. Can I put, like, an X on that spot?
Yeah, just if you want.
Alright, I don't... Here? Sounds good.
What else are you doing over here? Are you intervening at all?
I think I'm just gonna watch them for the rest of the time. Because it's possible that they're being sent to go grab the scientist, in which case I want to know that.
Okay. They are sent to grab somebody, and after a few moments you hear the large one give an order. And you also hear the sound of metal scraping as he puts his swords in their scabbards. And you hear a scuffle and a struggle as a couple of the Malisons are dragging someone out. And for a moment you think it might be the scientist, but it can't be, because the person they grab is A, a woman, and 2, a pureblood.
Huh.
After this, you hear another sound from inside the hole, another voice speaking the Yuan-ti tongue, but it doesn't sound like a Yuan-ti. It sounds like an orc. The struggle continues, and then you start hearing the sounds of fighting, and you don't hear that voice again. They take this pureblood woman and start dragging her down the path towards the city.
All right, how many of them are there?
Probably 5 of these Malisons plus the big guy.
All right, I don't think I'm going to be able to take the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm going to let them get just out of earshot, and then I'm going to head in there because I think what I just saw is them kidnapping that scientist's only remaining daughter.
Okay. And you head back into the hole?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your passive perception?
My passive perception is...
-5.
Yep.
You know what? No, not -5. You can hear and you can, quote-unquote, see outside of the hole.
18.
18. As you come in closer to the hole, you become aware that one of these Malisons has been left behind here. There's still somebody, one of the Yuan-ti here. And if you're going to go into the space, you're going to have to deal with him.
Okay. Does he seem like he's there as a guard, or does he seem like he's watching them leave? All right, easier
Difficult
question.
to say. You just
Does
know
he
that
have a
he's
snake
there.
for a head?
He does not.
All right, let's roll for initiative.
All right.
Let's vitamin K.
You are not surprised by this guy.
Oh.
And he rolled particularly well on initiative. And the other guy did not.
I rolled okay.
Everybody loves vitamin K.
So you can't see into this room because it's indoors. But you're aware that this man is standing kind of in this doorway.
Okay.
And not facing you as you land outside the doorway, although he's obviously aware of your presence as you touch down.
All right, so, but I can't see him.
He's standing in the doorway, so you can see him for purposes of wanting to attack him.
Okay, fantastic. Then I am going to go for some, like, just land 2 kicks to his chest.
Okay.
That is that's a 12 and a 23.
The 23 will hit, the 12 will not.
All right, that's 10 magical bludgeoning, and could you make me a con save?
Yes, sir. How's a 5 do?
He is stunned.
He is stunned. When you go into... What are you attacking with?
I just, like, double kicked him into the chest.
With your first kick, you land on his chest. Having fought these creatures before, you're not expecting them to be armored. But when your talon impacts his chest, he's wearing mail. And that seems very strange. That
That's
he'd
rough.
be wearing metallic armor. But then you
I am...
land the other blow, and he goes reeling back, and he's stunned.
All right, I'm going to flurry of blows.
Okay.
I'm going to convert both punches into a push, which he automatically fails, and I'm going to shove him over the cliff.
Shove him over the cliff. Can we get a Wilhelm scream?
No, because he is stunned.
There is a chance that somebody has seen that. If anybody from the inside of these windows, like the air loops here or anything, or outside of, has heard the fighting.
Yeah.
After you do that, though, and he doesn't scream on his way down because he's stunned, you do hear ragged breathing from the floor inside of the dwelling.
All right, I'm going to head in there, and whoever it is, I'm going to give them a healing potion.
And you find this mortally wounded half-orc. And you hand him the potion. And he pushes it away, and he's very suspicious, and he says something to you in the Yuan-ti tongue that you don't speak.
I'm going to reply back to him in common, hoping he's a first-generation slave. And I'm going to say, is the scientist in here? Was that his daughter?
He replies in common, but it's a very badly accented common. This is something he was taught by somebody who himself doesn't speak it well. And he asks do you mean Tatsushi?
I do, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Scientist.
And I'll say yes.
He says, well, he asks who you are. And he's asking us very suspiciously, as though he's expecting you to get the answer you want and then immediately put your sword to him.
Uh-huh. And I'll say, I'm here to get the scientist out. If that requires getting his daughter out too, then I'm all for it.
He asks you if the Coatl above has sent you. Have you come from the gods?
And I'll kind of shrug to that. I'll say, I'm not sure. I have a Yuan-ti companion. Maybe they were.
He tells you what the guards told him that just arrived.
Mm-hmm.
That after Tatsushi was taken, one of his daughters was killed, and he escaped with the other one. They had some people up here in the hills that said they could hide them until it would be safe to escape the city. But that was several weeks ago, and Tatsushi kept sending word up from the city where he was imprisoned that he was making headway against the matriarchs. He was getting them to understand his way of thinking. He was thinking, maybe you won't have to escape. Maybe we can find another way out of this. So they waited until it was too late. And today they received word that Tatsushi is to be executed. That this is going to take place in the sacrifice room of the temple.
Uh-oh.
He has requested, that being Tatsushi, has requested that his daughter be brought to him before he dies. This strikes you as insincere. Because, first of all, Yuan-ti don't have emotions.
Uh-huh.
Like, they're not a sentimental sort. And second, why would Tatsushi do that, knowing for sure that she would probably be put to death along with him? But this half-orc believes that to be true.
And I'll hand him the potion again, and I'll say, are you willing to help me get him out?
I mean, here's the problem, Nodal.
Yeah.
Is this man was given a mortal wound right before a long exposition scene in a Metal Gear adventure.
Oh, no!
So you are powerless but to sit here and listen to his whole life story and then he dies in your arms.
Fox die.
Can't we just say that we already had a death? Maybe he was tortured, and he'll get out now.
He wasn't tortured. You see, he was probably dealt one blow from one of these Malicens and knocked to the floor.
Yeah.
But he's very mistrustful of your potion because when he asked if you were from the gods, you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Maybe the gods didn't send us. Notably, though, he did not say the Red Star. He said the Coatl.
I barely know the difference. Isn't the Red Star the one that Red abandoned?
Yeah, I gave you guys the Religion 101 underwater before we went up into the lab.
See, I don't remember anything I hear underwater.
Okay.
Nodal doesn't remember anything.
I've been very clear about this. Is the Coatl the one that you follow now, Red?
Yeah, Red follows the Coatl. The Coatl and the Demon Lord of the Red Star are locked in an eternal battle, and the Coatl sometimes subverts the prayers of the Yuan-ti to the demon to do good in the world, is the short version of it.
Alright, how can I use that ridiculous religion's iconography to get this guy to do what I want? That's the cult leader thinking.
Make a religion check at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Because everything Wendy knows about this religion was told to her underwater.
Yeah. And she's forgotten all of it.
Nope.
I mean, I've got a pretty decent... Oh, no, I don't. Yeah, that's a 4.
It's a 4.
Yeah.
Raazu's the only one trained in religion, guy.
As he's speaking to you and telling you what transpired, he's definitely using his last breaths.
Uh-huh.
And it does. You're not sure what use this man could be anyway. He's clearly not a combatant. If one blow was enough to send him reeling. However, he motions to where there's a... Well, you don't know what he's motioning towards. He doesn't know that you're blind.
Yeah. So I'll head over there, wherever he motioned.
And there's just a loose cloth on the ground. As he's fidgeting something in his... looks like it's been stashed in his breeches. He's reaching around down in his vulnerables.
Gross.
It's a Metal Gear game. What do you want?
Half-orcs have more hiding places than Aarakocra.
He produces something.
That's not true.
The shape of which you're unsure of. And he tells you to be careful with it. That he cannot see your shape, but your voice, you do not sound like one of the Yuan-ti.
That's fair.
So, touching this would be dangerous. And he bids you to wrap it in this loose cloth.
Alright. I'll wrap it in the cloth.
He tells you that it's a key to where Tatsushi is being held beneath the temple.
Alright. To be clear, is it dangerous because it's poisonous?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I don't need to freak this guy out, but at least I know, don't worry too much about it.
Don't let Birdie try to eat it. And as he hands you this key, he dies.
Oh no! The red key!
And then the
cold
colonel
key?
immediately calls you and you talk about everything you just spoke of with this half-orc.
Later on, we learned that Wendy has bird flu, and that's what killed him.
Oh,
Thanks.
Bird.
see, I already made the pasta joke, though.
I know, but I made it better.
I'm sorry, I said he was locked beneath the temple. He's not. That's me misreading my notes. There's a room beneath this tower that he's being held in. The reason he's being held there is because it's away from anywhere of importance. There's no prying eyes, and he's under heavy guard. How he and his daughter managed to get this key away, you have no idea.
Okay, and the key is to that underneath the tower?
Yeah, this tower here, and remember the watchtowers in this place are not carefully manned.
Yeah.
There is supposedly a basement level where the key will open up.
Okay.
That's probably where she's being taken right now.
Alright. Then, I think now is the time to head back to my companions and get ready for round 3 of this.
Okay, you're heading back to the rendezvous point?
Yep.
Okay. 4:30, we should probably go ahead and take our break now so I can get the dogs outside.